A gorilla risked his life to save a drowning lion cub. What happened next is unbelievable. The mist clings to the canopy of the rainforest like a heavy, damp shroud, smelling of ancient moss and the sharp, metallic tang of an approaching storm. In the heart of the Congo, the air is thick enough to taste, a humid cocktail of rotting vegetation and the sweet, dizzying scent of blooming orchids. Here, where the light filters through layers of emerald leaves in jagged, golden shards, the laws of nature are written in blood and instinct. Predator avoids predator. The powerful do not risk themselves for the weak of another kind. Yet, in the dappled shadows of a clearing near the rushing, silt-heavy waters of the river, a silverback gorilla named Kamba stands frozen. His massive frame, a mountain of obsidian muscle and silver-tipped fur, vibrates with a tension that defies everything we understand about the wild. His amber eyes, usually filled with the stoic wisdom of a leader, are wide with a frantic, human-like desperation. A few feet away, swirling in the treacherous tea-colored eddies of the swollen river, is a tiny, golden speck. It is a lion cub, barely weeks old, its fur matted into pathetic, mud-slicked spikes, its lungs laboring with the ragged, wet rasp of the drowning. The lioness, the cub's mother, stands on the crumbling clay bank, her roar a jagged blade of grief that tears through the humid silence, yet she is paralyzed by the churning current she cannot navigate. In this moment, the boundary between species dissolves. Kamba, a vegetarian giant who should see the cub only as a future threat to his troop, moves toward the water. It is a behavior that defies 3 million years of evolution, a mystery of the heart that challenges our very definition of the wild. Before we delve deeper into this extraordinary encounter that shook the world of biology, take a moment to join our community. If stories of profound connection and the hidden depths of the animal kingdom resonate with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It helps us continue to bring these incredible journeys to life. We would also love to know where you are joining us from today. Leave a comment below telling us your city and what time it is there as you watch this. We truly value every member of our global family. The story of Kamba and the lioness, whom the local guides called Shani, did not begin at the river's edge. It began months earlier, during a season of unprecedented drought that turned the lush basin into a searing, dust-choked oven. The earth had cracked into a mosaic of dry clay, and the scent of scorched grass hung permanently in the air. During those desperate months, the usual boundaries of territory had frayed. Kamba's troop and Shani's pride found themselves sharing the only remaining watering hole, a deep, shaded spring where the water tasted of minerals and cool stone. Day after day, the silverback and the lioness watched one another. There was no aggression, only a mutual, weary recognition of the struggle to survive. Kamba would sit with his back against a baobab tree, the rough bark scraping against his silver fur, watching Shani lead her cubs to the water. He saw the way she nudged them, the way her sandpaper tongue groomed their ears, and the way her eyes scanned the horizon for danger. There was a silent pact formed in the shimmering heat of the drought, a recognition of parenthood and the heavy mantle of protection. Kamba, who had lost a daughter to a leopard years before, seemed to possess a specialized empathy for the vulnerability of the young. The air between them during those afternoons was often still, smelling of sun-warmed fur and the dry, sweet scent of acacia pods, a peaceful interlude in a world defined by the hunt. As the seasons shifted, the drought broke, with a violence that only the tropics can summon. The sky turned the color of a bruised plum, and the first rains fell not as drops, but as a thundering wall of water that turned dry gullies into raging torrents. The river, once a sluggish ribbon of blue, transformed into a muscular brown beast that devoured the banks. It was during one of these sudden, torrential deluges that Shawnee's youngest cub, distracted by a fluttering dragonfly, slipped from a slick mossy rock into the main channel. The cub didn't even have time to cry out before the current swept him toward the deep, turbulent center. This is where the keepers from the nearby conservancy, who had been tracking the troop for research, felt a cold knot of dread. Through their rain-streaked binoculars, they watched as Shawnee paced the bank, her claws furrowing the mud, her scent a sharp, acidic cloud of panic. They knew the statistics. No cub survives a river in spate. The water was too fast, the rocks too jagged, and the cold was a silent killer that would stop a small heart in minutes. The experts felt a growing desperation, a clinical hopelessness as they watched the cub's head bob like a cork in the foam. They expected to witness a tragedy, a natural end to a short life. But then the silverback appeared. Kamba did not hesitate. He moved with a heavy, deliberate grace, his massive knuckles sinking into the saturated earth. As he reached the water's edge, he didn't look at the lioness. His focus was entirely on the small, shivering mass of gold swirling in the debris. The water was waist-deep for him, a crushing weight that pulled at his thick limbs. He could feel the vibration of the river in his bones, the scent of churned mud and uprooted trees filling his nostrils. Every instinct should have told him to retreat, to stay safe with his troop high in the canopy. Instead, he reached out. His hand, as large as a dinner plate and covered in leathery, black skin, hovered over the cub. With a gentleness that seemed impossible for a creature that could snap a sapling with one hand, he scooped the cub from the water. He didn't carry it by the scruff, he cradled it against his massive, warm chest, shielding it from the biting wind and the lashing rain. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to hold its breath. The only sound was the roar of the water and the distant, rhythmic drumming of rain on broad leaves. The hidden truth of the moment was revealed not in an act of violence, but in Kamba's eyes. There was no predatory glint, no territorial rage. There was only the why, a deep, cross-species maternal instinct that recognized a life in peril. It was a biological anomaly, a physical manifestation of an emotional bridge built during the long, hot days of the drought. He wasn't saving a lion, he was saving a child. The resolution began as Kamba stepped back onto the firm, red earth of the bank. Shawnee, the lioness, stood 10 feet away, her body low to the ground, her tail twitching in a reflex of uncertainty. But as Kamba approached, he made a soft, rumbling sound in his throat, a vocalization usually reserved for comforting his own infants. He knelt in the mud, the scent of wet fur and ozone rising around them, and gently placed the cub on a bed of dry leaves beneath a low-hanging fern. The cub was shivering violently, its breathing shallow and erratic. Kamba didn't leave. He sat beside the cub, his massive presence acting as a windbreak, his body heat radiating outward like a furnace. Slowly, the lioness crept forward. She sniffed the air, her nose twitching as she caught the scent of the gorilla mixed with the scent of her own offspring. In a moment that will be studied by naturalists for decades, she didn't strike. She sat down beside the silverback. For nearly an hour, the two giants of the forest sat in the fading light of the storm, their breathing eventually synchronizing into a slow, steady rhythm. The tension that had gripped the clearing evaporated, replaced by a profound, heavy peace. The cub began to stir, its small paws kneading the air, and as it let out a tiny, high-pitched mew, Shani leaned in to lick the river water from its face, her tongue moving in rhythm with the gorilla's steady heartbeat. This incredible legacy teaches us that empathy is not a human invention. It is an ancient biological frequency that exists beneath the surface of tooth and claw. It suggests a sixth sense of love, an ability to recognize the sanctity of life regardless of the shape it takes. We often think of the wild as a place of rigid rules, but Kamba and Shani showed us that there is a higher law, the law of the heart. Their connection was built on shared struggle and observed devotion, proving that intelligence in the animal kingdom is not just about survival, but about the capacity for kindness. It challenges us to look at the natural world not as a collection of specimens, but as a tapestry of individuals capable of profound emotional depths. The story of the silverback and the lion cub remains a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the most dangerous environments, the impulse to protect can override the impulse to destroy. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in bruised oranges and deep purples, Kamba rose to his feet. He gave one final, lingering look at the cub, who was now tucked safely against Shani's warm belly. Without a sound, he turned and vanished into the dense, fragrant shadows of the forest, heading back to his family. He left behind a miracle and a mystery. We hope this story has touched you as much as it has touched us. It serves as a powerful testament to the unseen bonds that unite all living things. If you found this journey moving, please like and share this video to spread this message of cross-species compassion. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the wonders of our world. Before you go, we have a question for you. Have you ever witnessed an animal show an unexpected sign of intuition or empathy, perhaps even toward a different species or a human? We would love to hear your personal stories in the comments below. Thank you for watching and for being part of a community that celebrates the beauty of life in all its forms.